did struggle on the Void Spirit. Do we feel like this is going to be a game where he can thrive, or is he going to be kind of sacrificed again?
To be fair, I think that was just Bob having an insane series. It felt like Bob versus the world for South Built that time around. And not to say that Mamang Dai is any slouch, of course, especially on his signature Husker. But we'll see if he's able to pull it back with this one, because Bob was definitely on point that time.
Greetings.
Go all in. Go all in with whatever you're predicting. Worst case scenario, you get a bunch of extra points. Worst case scenario, you lose all your points, but they weren't going to be useful anyway. Unless it's a game 3, then, you know, you're kind of boned, but we'll see what happens. You want to get to that magic 5,000, though, so you can get the giveaway entries. But hopefully, for the sake of good Dota, we go to a game 3.
Yeah, we're always about those game 3s, especially with teams like this. Get to see some incredible Dota right now between Army Geniuses and SMG, and that's going to trickle on forward into the upper division that will be later on tonight. We've got 2 incredible series over there as well.
Well, one incredible series and one good series, let's say that.
And I don't care. Any Dota game, any upper division game, to me, it's incredible. We feel so privileged now with... You just look at any time of the day, it really feels like there's Dota going on. Like, it's just so much content.
A little bit unlucky there again on UK, missing out on the Observer one, but I feel like that was always going to happen. The purpose of that was Paulus to... he's taking an okay amount of damage right now. He won't die. Or will he? You got the Orb of Venom.
This is
pretty speedy, though. He's got boots, so he should be fine.
That's going to be a ferocious lane, though. Like, Puck right clicks can kind of stack up, and especially with the Orb of Venom, like you were saying, and that tag team. So Grimstroke's going to be pretty on point, and you know, KP, he's got 3 armor. I wonder if we're going to see him prioritize a little bit more armor, but you know, we were saying about Nia on his Void Spirit. He's already got 6 last hits versus the Husker, so it's actually starting really well, but it's never fun laning versus a lane dominator like the Husker.
Yeah, of course. I mean, Void Spirit's probably one of those heroes that, a melee hero that actually doesn't mind too much about laning against the Husker, at least super early on, because that inner fire is not going to be super effective at reducing your ability to get last hits. You're still going to have the Resonant Pulse. You're still going to have the Aether Remnant, so you're not able to mind game quite as easily to secure a lot of denies for yourself. So I think Nia's going to do just fine. He's already got the bottle coming out to him now, just before the 2-minute runes.
And we'll see Nia's going to have to prioritize a lot on that small camp as well, which some teams, when they have this real intense lane dominator in the mid lane, they like to block that small camp.
Did you think it was yours?
Because that is usually the fallback farm when you can't get a lot of the CS in the lane. That's where we'll see the Void Spirit thrive, but he's honestly thriving mid right now at the moment. Top of the last hits with an early bottle, and you know, that's exactly what you need in this lane. Get the bottle fast, have a lot of regen, and just spam out the wave.
Even with that water rune, you know, you can potentially look to get a bit more aggressive. You can see Mamang Dai, he's got the 2 points into the Burning Spears, so a little bit less regen coming through. Could enable the dive, but he just wants to survive for now, get his base level of farm.
Take a look at this top lane, mid 1 and Rogi. This is going to be a very difficult lane, I feel, for Wami and Lim, because the Troll and Treant Protector are quite the strong laning stage heroes.
Good. Yeah, for sure. I'm keen to see how Rogi opts to build here, because obviously Nature's Grass, fantastic spell. Even with just the 1 point, the slow doesn't scale that amazingly. Same sort of thing with the damage, but we've seen Living Armor be the thing prioritized a lot of the time. I wonder if that's still going to be the case, or if you just get the 1 value point in it, just because you're going up against this Shadow Demon that, you know, doesn't really care about having it. Even the 2 points in the leech seed.
Interesting. Is this just for I guess, looking to trade? Because there is still a decent amount of damage that can come through from the Army Geniuses off lane.
Yeah, just easy trade. I mean, a Legion Commander's like, okay, I'll happily trade with you, but 2 points in the Leech Seed is a fair amount of damage, and I feel like Leech Seed 2 points is the value mark there. You double the damage, you nearly double the slow, and cooldown reduced slightly as well. Roger, he's taken a fair amount of these poison stacks, though. It's a level 2 Shadow Poison. You get one more onto him, might be dead, but he should be okay.
Roger actually as well. It's just the back and forth. Everyone's just eating up so much harass at the moment. And see, this is where it comes into play. Wami's got the Ring of Health, Ring of Regen. Well aware that this is going to be a lane where there's just a lot of damage and spells getting dished out left, right, and center.
Same sort of thing on bot side, right? You got a Tusk with Tag Team and the Orb of Venom. You're always going to try and get aggressive as possible. That's the downside of the position 5 Tusk, though, is that you can afford to go and get the Orb of Venom, but boots are going to come much later. You can see here, even with the Courier coming out, it's just more regen, making sure the puck has a decent start to the game as opposed to enabling yourself for any kind of kills.
We'll get to see our first blood here in the second game. Is there a lane that you feel like might be higher probability than any others?
Honestly, all three are pretty damn even for the likelihood. It just depends on people's positioning, right? You get out of position once against a Tusk, you're dead meat. I mean, you can see here they're trying to go in onto KP, but now you put in the DG Aura. Will it be enough?
Nope. It will not.
What's this? A fascinating substance.
The orb there from DB is going to be able to pick up the first blood of the game, just as I was saying what lane to look out for. Goes down bot.
It's all about that positioning. Tusk, super important. And he's forced to TP all the way back to base to be able to refill his bottle.
Has been killed.
Get a bit healthier, but that's going to leave Magdaya here to... Well, he's going to push the lane out so that he can... I mean, that's the thing with a Husker, right? You're not great at jungling, so he's just trying to push this wave under the tower as quickly as possible. Going to be a bit harder against a siege creep, though.
And that is what the Husker wants to do, though. Like, when you're the lane dominator and you force a hero back into the jungle, if you shove that lane out, I mean, one, the tower's going to take damage. Two, if they don't come back fast enough, then you're going to lose valuable gold and experience. And regardless, I mean, you kind of have to come back and defend it, which means that's where the Husker can thrive, going up against like a weak lane like the Void Spirit. And we're really seeing the Dominator come into play here. Like, he's got 36 last hits compared to the 22. Nia was doing great for the first couple of waves, and then really started to tail off. Because you get the Phantom, it's going to prevent him from utilizing the defensive snowball, but it works out just as well with the backline here for the banishment. Nia still is going to pull them away thanks to the Simulate, but Magdaya is summoning Iron right now whether he wants to go in or not with the Husker. Bracer left with the Helm, so it's relatively sustainable. I don't think he's going to be able to survive through all the damage that SMG can dish out when they surround him.
And that's exactly what you want to do. You know, you want to rotate people so that you're moving as far away from that tower as possible. That tower is already on basically half HP. Rogi was healing it up during the start of that, but I mean, the benefit of a Husker around a tower is that, similar to the Viper, you can just use the Burning Spear as long as it's not auto-cast to continue diving under it. And if there's a creep wave there, it's just going to push the mid laner out of the lane one more time. But instead, ends up going down himself. That's actually a huge death in the context of this game.
Yeah, it is, because we were speaking about in the draft is that Radiant are going to need ways to take towers early. And if the Husker is dying a couple times and missing that timing of grouping up and taking these early objectives, then we're going to see the Dream Protector really thrive with keeping those towers up.
Wami up here, he's doing an okay job with being able to get his last hits, but he's still short on the level 6. Mid one's more than a level ahead of him right now, so you're realizing the fact that with that ranged form, you're always going to have a relative advantage over the Legion Commander, especially with how much Army Geniuses are wanting to secure this mid lane for Magdaya.
Healing shock!
That horrible camp for a Husker. The Bulls. His regen's gimped because of it.
Still doing relatively well though for Dire. He's got the armlet almost completed, so we'll see if Army Genius is going to be able to hit that big timing though.
This rotation though.
And they burst through in. It's pretty low right now. The main Dire is going to fall. Very nice movement from Team SMG. Well aware of the positioning. Now that with that pick off, they can transition that into another up top as Wami's in trouble here. Mid-one's getting a couple routes. Missed the remnant, but regardless, a last route for Mid-one to lock him in place allows him to get another pick off. Thanks to that smoke maneuver. Really great movements from Team SMG, and they are still not done just yet. Stroke of Fate slows down you, and the can move in now with the action. Snowball's going to be able to dodge it. He's got to be careful of the positioning. Might actually run into the remnant. They're stacking up the poison, and with the combo missed, it's going to force SMG back. But that was the damage well and truly dealt.
Yeah, I mean, I don't feel like at this point of the game that's where you want to be farming as the Husker. You know, we just talked about it. You're not great at farming the jungle. You are a single target hero that's capable of diving towers, and the fact that Magdire has been pushed out of lane is huge for the context of his team and their chances in this game. You know, he's 150 gold away from that armlet, maybe just wanting to safely build that one up first before they look to make any sort of tower attempt, but that's a couple of kills now that have gone over to Nia in the meantime, and so that's going to get him a lot closer to those key items for himself. It's going to get a lot closer now. I'm sure they're going to try and give as much gold over to him if he was able to kill the Tusk, but forces the rotation out from Wami.
Yeah, we see, even though he was having a bit of a rough lane versus that Husker, he's still well and truly having a solid performance thanks to the rotations. I mean, he only got 37 last hits, but we're really going to see him thrive this game if he can continue to make those maneuvers across the map. Because again, you know, the KP Omni Knight is not going to be that playmaker. So Nia with the Grimstroke is definitely going to be able to get pretty active here.
This is it. This is Army Genius's fight. If they lose this,
It's a snowball.
they've got the Demonic Purge as well, but they're just able to run away. You know, they see the armlet's been picked up, they see that the Shadow Demon's level 6, and they're like, right, let's make sure at the very minimum we're fighting underneath our tower. That's one of the benefits of the increased tree cover with the most recent patch, is that you can actually join these team fights under, you know, relative secrecy. And of course, that's not even to mention the extra armor, the extra HP regen that you get from fighting underneath it. This would be horrible if they pick him off again farming in the triangle.
Meanwhile, Radiant they went for their own smoke away from the Husker, who's really low, man.
What?
Well, Wami's dead now. They're gonna get the Husker, but it doesn't matter. They get the kill on Wami into the T1 tower because they got the catapult. There's some big mistakes getting made here, and it's you can't, as a Husker lineup, 3 deaths, you cannot be making mistakes. This is a hero who doesn't have a big window of opportunity for those mistakes.
No. I don't think there's any way I can expand on that. You know, you can't die. I think he's going to maybe look to pick up, he went the Belt of Strength. He just wants some extra little bit of farm to be able to survive, not even wanting to wait the extra 200 so that he had the full Ogre Axe, so it still wasn't, you know, 100% certain, am I going to go on a super early BKB because of how crappy my lane's gone, or is it just going to be this Sanjin Yasha? Now it reveals it's the SNY. It's going to at least protect him somewhat when he finishes up the Sanj with the extra HP regen that you're going to get, but I mean, the fact that, well, Liv's dead. The fact that you're not playing together with this lineup that is so heavily focused around burst potential is a big no-no for mine.
Yeah, we're seeing they haven't taken it.
First Dream Call used on a Treant Protector that's going to live. Maybe. Maybe not.
Maybe, no, he will die. But we're setting up for Wami up top. They've got the haste on Nia, so Nia can rejoin them. They just need to make sure he doesn't even have a TP available, so they don't need to hold no stuns. Wami's Vanguard, pressed attack. It's not as easy to kill with just these 2 heroes, and now he's going to have some backup as well with the Shadow Team, but he's going to jump the support instead. Great prioritization coming through from the Void Spirit, and now they'll try and deal with the Lineage Commander. Another Astral step forward, so they're going to look to turn for Fu. Tag teams out, and we're going to dual victory coming through. If things go fast not, which it isn't. They're able to get the return kill there, unfortunately. Near's committed to the fight here, but the actual steps on cooldown. And finally, Army Geniuses are able to hit back.
That's what I wanted to see. I was about to say, right before that fight broke out, the fact that we haven't seen a single demonic purge, we hadn't seen a walrus punch, we hadn't seen a life break, and we hadn't seen a duel yet this game. Like, it was 12.5 minutes until anyone on Army Geniuses used any ultimates. That's how badly this game was going. Finally, they get things a little bit more back on their terms. It's still only 1k gold differential, so it's not the end of the world, but they've given themselves a chance here.
The armor of omniscience.
Those key pickups helping them. Now formula push up top.
3 minutes.
Surprise.
That's right, 3 seconds. Can you imagine? 3-minute cooldown on duel.
3-minute duel. How much damage do you think it would have to give you for that to be worth it?
I think it just ends the game. GG, you win.
You can duel the throne.
Did you ever play Yu-Gi-Oh as a kid? Have I told you that I was the state champion at one point when I was like 13?
How you become state champion of Yu-Gi-Oh?
Cards, the card game.
I know what Yu-Gi-Oh is, but what was the process of becoming?
Like you win the municipal or the city tournament, and then you go to state, and I won the state. This was like in early 2000s. You know. It still happened. That's the reality of the situation. But anyway, the reason I asked that, the reason I asked that was I would love to see like the equivalent in Dota of like Exodia, which is like as soon as you collect it, you win the game. You know, I think that would be a little bit cool for me. It needs to be really hard to do though.
Yeah, hard to get. You win the game instantly like that. Whew.
Yeah. What's a KP?
Nice songs, KP. You say it's a KP gets the goons in.
In your death.
He's got Solar Crest up already. This is continuing to look scary. Look
again,
at the
like
mid one. Oh.
Look at the farm on mid one, and again, where's the team? Like, for mine, I can't see a reason why Liv isn't there at that fight. You know, you're going up against an Omni Knight. He didn't go Guardian Angel until like level 11 or 12, I think, last game. He was forced to go into it there. Didn't actually pop it, but I mean, surely in the instance that he does, you need to still guarantee the fact that he's going to die. But didn't even need to use it, didn't die. And that's just because of the fact that you didn't have Soul Catch. You didn't have that extra damage needed to take him down.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
One time mid. SMG looking to mount a little bit of an offense, or maybe they're just forcing some reactions mid to continue making space right now for mid one's troll. What's getting shoved in? Just looking to continue to control the map.
To the omniscience.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Radiant?
They're not just going to walk into Roche, are they? That is not it for mine. Like, none of your abilities, except for tag team, are going to help with taking Roche. So you have to get a pick off first.
Dire's top tower is
So
under
fearless.
attack.
When you get someone like
Radiant's
the
middle
Omni
tower
Knight that
is
can
under
buff you
attack.
up like that, like, what do you actually do?
They just got Solar Crest. They've got maxed Heavenly Grace. Why wouldn't you be? Already having the Aether Lens as well with the maxed out Ink Swell on Arfu. It's 2.5 minutes until that 20-minute timer. He's 900 gold away from the shard. Wonder what's going to happen as soon as it gets to 20 minutes. So Dota's a simple game. You know, it's hard to execute, but in theory, you kind of see where the games are going a lot of the time. That's why I'm so confused by some of these movements coming out from Army Geniuses. They've looked on point in some of these, you know, other recent series that they've been playing.
I wonder why they're not playing as fast as what we were kind of hoping them to do. I mean, I guess making those minor mistakes that they did in the early game is kind of costing them at the moment. And maybe Dire with taking that tier 1 mid, they definitely have a window of opportunity to take Roche. Yeah.
Well, at least they're going to try and contest it this time around. They're going to know that it's going on with the use of that Shadow Poison. Again, I feel like you got to get a pick off first. Who are you going to find? Tree protecting would be fantastic. He's revealed on the top side. He's going to have to.
Just, yeah, this still farming. Nia stun up to 2. He just gets the snowball off, but they're still going to be able to break him down after with the last astral step. Drop the call on the high ground. Husker is still not joining this fight, as 2 will fall on Army Geniuses. He's hitting a tier 1 tower. They're losing 2 and probably back into Rose. But you have to fight. You are a Husker. You cannot go late. They're going to double buy back. Finally, tower's going to get claimed. When they dragged it back, good one. Ready to rock and roll here. No protection to KP on the back line. They're doing a very good job to Kai.
Husker, you need to send the courier to yourself. It's just sitting at the mid lane. Finally got it. BKB, level 15. He's going to try and commit with this.
Okay, guys. And he's down. One's going to have to retreat away.
Here we go.
He just rips him apart. Husker with the BKB timing does absolutely nothing. As Army Geniuses lose 3, and they now can turn their attention to DB as well. Buck's pretty wild here. Slippery boy. But the damage has been dealt. My oh my.
Yeah, and that is going to be an easy Roche cleanup as well. You know what happened that fight? You know how what I predicted in the draft happened, and they just duel him, and then kind of similar to the Axe Coil I was thinking might happen. They just use the Guardian Angel and he lives. You still have the Demonic Purge on cooldown for 10, I think it's 12 seconds at the time. That's the difference.
Double Astral Step here and off field time and time again. The duo is getting so active this game. SMG have turned up to another notch this series.
Yeah, I mean, that's what happens when the Husker spends that much time farming, and the impact of those 3 early deaths. You know, it means that he was forced to farm continuously, be away from his team, not have the BKB. They needed to use the Demonic Purge. I'm not putting this onto Lim at all. Like, you probably should have made the attempt when you had the Demonic Purge off cooldown, sure, but he was forced to use it because, I mean, Husker wasn't there. They were just going to take the Roche otherwise.
The omniscience.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
5,000 net worth lead. Big one's got the Aegis in the back. And he's even just hitting a T2 tower for break here. Very much closing in on the 15. And if he gets a first hit, he is positioning and yeah, that he is. Nice use though.
Dire's top
Winning
tower
with
is under attack.
can get away with it. No.
Just the 1 point of the phase shift. Not enough, unfortunately. I'm gonna keep going.
He's only level 12. Oh my.
Dire's top tower is falling.
Oh my.
Radiant's
This
bottom
is not
tower
the
is
way
under
that you
attack.
wanted to
Radiant's
come off your
top
solid
tower
momentum
is fortified.
in recent weeks. And the thing is, like, for mine, you gotta just let this race go. You need to take a 5v5 fight and use everything onto one hero. But the thing is, now it can't be mid one because he's got the Aegis. So there's no way to kill mid one twice. That's the big issue.
Noticing how difficult it is when he's got KP behind him.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
You need to use literally every single ultimate. Maybe not the Dream Coil to kill a single target. And, well, mid one's the only one that matters right now. No refreshers available just yet for Army Geniuses, unfortunately. He's doing his best. I mean, this is called the dead lane, the suicide lane for a reason, and he doesn't care. He's just gonna sit there and hit a creep.
Roger. Oh, this is so awkward. We've been there for so long. We're hanging out like, oh guys, I think the tree's here, but look at the space actually. They've caught out Pop CB. Hiding in a nook. He's going to TP out Nia. Does he get the remnant in the right direction? He doesn't. Well,
They got him.
The dual victory for Wami, so it's
That
got
took
30 damage.
3 ultimates to kill that tree and protect it.
Now the main guy in the lane. Once man fighting, Guardian Angel's out. He has to pop the BKB. Now with the Purge. Good one. Protecting the status using the third. Man fight next to the second fight. The main guy needs a little bit of help coming back if he wants to come back forward after these ages getting reclaimed here.
Can't kill him again. Cannot. Not without your ultimates. Like, you need duel and you need disruption onto the Omni Knight minimum. but they just didn't have that still, so
Radiant's
they back
middle
off
tower
wisely
is under
enough, but I
attack.
feel like SMG, they're fine with another BKB charge being expended there.
What is KP? KP's gone hell, but oh boy. How do you actually right click anyone for a Husker?
Got a BKB early, and yeah, that's a risky proposition for sure. DB, he's gone in deep again. Will he be able to pick up a Grimstroke at least? Not the heals.
It's just so demoralizing when they can't even pick off a Grimstroke. Like SMG's movements, they're just making sure no one dies. If one person at least died, they get a trait. They are just...
To be fair, at least it's happening on the other side of the map. So you can't take objectives if you're on your side of the map. So Memengdai is given a little bit more time to farm here. He's going to be able to buy either the Morbid Mask or the Claymore on this bottom side. Has to be careful about going that one little wave too deep. KP kind of senses that he might be down here solo. He's just going to run on into this wave. He doesn't care.
Can he survive long enough for the rest of the team to get there?
Wobby.
He's just walking behind now, blind, pops the he's pressed the attack. Is this going to be enough? He's also got a double damage from the team by the main guys to Black Red 4. He's also got a lot of damage to play with, but it's not going to matter. This one actually turns into texture battle trance, gets away from the Oscar now. His attention locks on as the main die will forward to shoot the kill. He gets a first hit root as well. An ultra for mid one. I don't think he's going to get... Rage is caught. Wow. Army geniuses demoralized here.
Perfectly understandable. I mean, you even just look at the HP in that fight. You use the battle trance, so that's why Troll's back up at max HP. But Grimstroke's on about 40%. Triot was on 40%. Omni Knight was on 40%. You go into this single pick-off lineup and you don't pick off any single targets. It's always going to be the case when you've got A, this much save, B, this much heal, and